कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी। जय गिरिवर धारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी। जय गिरिवर धारी। जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रज जन रंजना। जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रज जन रंजना। यमुना तीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय यमुना तीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 9, text number 264 to 270. 264. Agyayevam gunan doshan maya dishtan api swakan Dharman santyajya yah sarvan mam bhajet sacha sattamaha. Occupational duties are described in the religious scriptures. If one analyzes them, he can fully understand their qualities and faults, and then give them up completely to render service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A person who does so is considered a first-class man. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami ma suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavata mat katha shavanadau va shraddha yavan na jayate. As long as one is not satisfied by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service, by Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnuhu, one has to act according to the regulative principles of the Vedic injunctions. Panchavidha mukti tyaga kare bhakta gana falgu kari mukti deke narake rasama. Pure devotees reject the 5 kinds of liberation. Indeed, for them, liberation is very insignificant because they see it as hellish. Shalokya shashati samipya sarupyaikatvam apiyuta diyamanam na grihananti vinamat sevanam jana. Pure devotees always reject the 5 kinds of liberation, which include living in the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, possessing the same opulences as those possessed by the Supreme Lord, having the same bodily features as the Lord's, associating with the Lord and merging into the body of the Lord. The pure devotees do not accept these benedictions without the service of the Lord. Yo dustyajan shiti swajanartha dharan prarthyam shriyam suraberehe sadyavalokam naichan ripastat uchitam mahatam madhoti sevanurakta manasam apavopi falgu. It is very difficult to give up material opulence, land, children, society, friends, riches, wife, or the blessings of the goddess of fortune, which are desired even by great demigods. But King Bharata did not desire such things, and this was quite befitting his position, because for a pure devotee, whose mind is always engaged in the service of the Lord, even liberation or merging into the existence of the Lord is insignificant, and what to speak of material opportunities. So we'll recite today's verse. Narayana parah sarve na kutaschana bibhyati swarga pavarga narkeshva api tulyartha darshinaha. Narayana parah sarve na kutaschana bibhyati swarga pavarga narkeshva api tulyartha darshinaha. Narayana parah sarve na kutaschana bibhyati swarga pavarga narkeshva api tulyartha darshinaha. Narayana parah sarve na kutaschana bibhyati swarga pavarga narkeshu api tulyartha darshinaha. Narayana para sarve na kutaschana bibhyati Narakeshva Swarga pavarga Narakeshva Api tulyartha darshinaha Narayana para sarve Swarga pavarga Narakeshva Api tulyartha darshinaha. Mataji's. Narayana para sarve na kutaschana bibhyati Swarga pavarga Narakeshva Api tulyartha darshinaha. Word to word meaning. Narayana Paraha. Persons who are devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Sarve, all. Na, never. Kutaschana, anywhere. Bibhyati, are afraid. Swarga, in the heavenly planetary systems. Apavarga, on the path of liberation. Narakeshu, or in a hellish condition of life. Api, even. Tulya, equal. Artha, value. Darshinaha, seers of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A person who is a devotee of Lord Narayan is not afraid of a hellish condition because he considers it the same as elevation to the heavenly planets or liberation. The devotees of Lord Narayan are accustomed to seeing all these things on the same level. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 6.17.28 regarding the personality Chitraketu. Once when Chitraketu saw the goddess Parvati sitting on the lap of Lord Shambhu, he criticized Lord Shiva for being shameless and sitting just like an ordinary man with his wife on his lap. For this reason, Chitraketu was cursed by Parvati. Later he became a demon named Vritrasur. Chitraketu was a very powerful king and a devotee, and he could certainly retaliate even against Lord Shiva. But when Parvati cursed him, he immediately accepted the curse with a bowed head. When he agreed to accept this curse, Lord Shiva praised him and told Parvati that a devotee of Lord Narayana is never afraid of accepting any position, provided there is a chance to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the purport of Narayana Paraha Sarve Na Kutaschana Bibhyati. Hare Krishna. My humble pranams to Maharaj and seeking everyone's blessings. And it's a pleasure to be back to this holy place blessed by Srila Prabhupada. And I believe this is the 50th year celebration. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, he said that even if there is complete devastation in this world, and if we have to save something, we are on a boat, then we must save just these 3 books, leave everything else behind. He said the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then he says, then out of these 3, if we have to throw one away, then he could just do away with the Bhagavad Gita and keep the Srimad Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And even between these 2, if you have to throw away one of these, then you can leave Srimad Bhagavat, but never ever leave Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Bhagavad Gita happens to be the ABCD of life. And Srimad Bhagavat is the scripture which is the practical demonstration of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. And Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is further demonstration of the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in these verses we see how the path of pure bhakti has been glorified. And the glory of devotee has been revealed. Srila Prabhupada used to tell a story that there was a saint who was going around giving blessings. So he meets a brahmachari, an ascetic, and he gives him the benediction, Ma Jiva, you should immediately die. And then he meets one prince. He says, you should never die. Now one might wonder, maybe the prince was giving him some money. He's giving that kind of blessing. But we'll reveal the purport later on. And then he meets a butcher. He says, you should neither live nor die. And that saint meets a devotee. He says, you either live or die. So when he was asked about the purport to his blessings, so he says, I gave the blessing to the brahmachari, the ascetic, because that you immediately die. Because he has already lived a life of complete austerity. So what should he do here? Why should he keep on performing more austerities? I says, because the higher destination is awaiting you. So you should immediately leave this horrible material world. So that's a blessing. And he gave the blessing to the prince that you never die. Because he is so much engaged in sense gratification, and naturally when you have wealth, opulence, people tend to engage in sinful activities, and princely life is sinful. So he said, you don't die, because when you die, hellish punishment is waiting for you. So my blessing is that you continue to live. And to the butcher he gave the blessing, you neither live nor die. Because when you're living a hellish life. Living among the dead bodies, killing innocent beings, that's like hell. And when you die, hellish punishment awaits you for whatever you have done in this life. So you neither live nor die. Both ways suffering. And to the devotee he gave the blessing, you either live or die. It's the same thing. Because the devotee doesn't matter where he is. He just continues to do the same activity, and that is to serve Krishna, serve the Supreme Lord. And a devotee therefore doesn't mind being born even in hell or heaven. Hell is heaven for him if there is an opportunity to serve Krishna. And heaven is hell for him if there is no opportunity to serve Krishna, because his only motive in life is engagement in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes that he's praying to Krishna that if you have to give me another birth in this material world, even if I have to be born as an insect, let me be born in the home of a devotee, so that at least I'll get to hear your glory, your glorification, your name, and I'll get to eat the remnants of your devotees' prasad. So this is the consciousness of a devotee. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the example. He gives the example of Maharaj Chitraketu. This verse was spoken in relation to Maharaj Chitraketu's pastime in the 6th canto, who was a great king, and then he became a demon named Vritrasur. Now, therefore, Srimad Bhagavat is a spotless Purana. And right from the beginning till the end, it only talks about the highest stuff. So it gives the examples of children like Prahlad and Dhruva at the age of 5 who attained perfection. Then there is the example of an elephant, Gajendra, who is taken to Vaikuntha by the Lord personally. He is also able to perfect his life. Then there is the example of the gopis of Vrindavan, apparently not very sophisticated, not educated. Then there is the example of Pingla the prostitute. Now, so many people are doing big things in this world. But whatever you do, whatever we do, whatever these people do, their name will not be found in the Srimad Bhagavat. However, a prostitute, Pingla, has found a place in Srimad Bhagavat. And every time Srimad Bhagavat is read, discussed, her glory is discussed. That's why Srimad Bhagavat is one of the best scriptures. It gives the message that no matter who we are, we can be elevated to the highest position through the process of bhakti. Therefore, the process of bhakti is the highest. So, Maharaj Chitraketu, his life was also something, it begins like an ordinary materialistic person's life. He is a king and he has married so many queens because he didn't have a child. He wanted a son to carry on the legacy. But it wasn't in his destiny. And then he meets the sage Angira. He sees the king. King is looking dejected, depressed. So he asked him, what is the matter? He said, I want a son. And Maharaj Angira saw that this is not in his destiny. But still seeing the king's condition, he blessed him. Okay, you'll be blessed with a son, but he will be the cause of both happiness and lamentation for you. And Maharaj Chitraketu didn't pay much attention. Just like when we are doing some subscription and there is that asterisk at the bottom, conditions, we never read, we just say, I agree. So we don't pay much attention. So he said, yeah, I agree. And he was thinking, all children are the cause of happiness and lamentation, both for their parents. So what's the big deal? So he accepted. And in due course of time, a child was born. And imagine a beggar who's been hankering for some wealth and suddenly one day he gets what he desired. So he became so attached to this queen who gave birth to the son. So he would spend most of his time with this queen. But he had many other queens who became envious. And one day, they just poisoned the child. This is what envy can do. Jealousy is just a feeling, but when we start practicing, we start putting it into action, that is called envy. And an envious person thrives on somebody else's pain. So they poisoned the child, and the child died. And when the news reached the king, the queen was crying like a cow who had lost her calf. And then the news reaches the king. He's not even able to walk. Shri Radha Gokula Nand ji, Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki jai. So somehow he manages to reach the spot where his dead son was lying, and both start lamenting now. And the queens, they have their crocodile tears in their eyes. They're also crying so that nobody suspects them. And the lamentation goes on and on and on and on. And finally now, Angira Rishi again arrives, but this time with Narad Muni, the greatest preacher. So Narad Muni asked, what happened? King Chitraketu says, my son has died. Oh, your son has died? So he tells the child, oh child, your parents are waiting for you. They are lamenting. Please wake up. And the child immediately wakes up. He gets up, not wakes up. He's brought back to life by Narad Muni. And immediately the child says, parents, which lifetime's parents? He says, I've spent so many lifetimes. Which lifetime are you talking about? And then through the child and then Narad Muni, he gives the transcendental knowledge to King Chitraketu, and then he comes back to his senses and he realizes that the goal of life should be something higher and not simply centered around I, me and mine and materialistic goals. And Narad Muni gives him a mantra, after chanting which for 7 nights he'll become perfect. This was a mantra invoking the blessings in the presence of Lord Sankarsana. And within 7 nights, Maharaj Chitraketu is able to achieve that perfection and completely devoted. And because of the power of that mantra, he gains sovereignty. He becomes the king of one of the celestial planets. From being an earthly king to the king of a celestial planet. And he had his own plane. He was traveling with the most beautiful girls. And one day, as he was flying above the Himalayas, he sees something very interesting. He sees Lord Shiva sitting under a tree, and he was speaking to many, many sages, the renunciants, the Katha of the Lord. He was giving them instructions. But nothing wrong about it. But then there was something very strange, something weird. Therefore, it is said that 3 personalities are very, very difficult to comprehend. The Guru, the Hladini Shakti of the Lord, that is Srimati Radharani, and Lord Shiva is the most mysterious figure. What he does, why he does. When it comes to giving benedictions to his worshippers, he gives them whatever they want, whether they are demons or devotees. But when it comes to his own self, he gives wealth, he gives prosperity, he gives power, he gives influence. When it comes to his own self, he doesn't even have a house of his own. So once Mother Parvati actually told him that now we are married, let's have a home. So naturally Lord Shiva felt obliged to fulfill her desire, but he's so detached. Anyways, he agreed. And when we buy a new house, there is a puja which is done, Griha Pravesh. You remember the Lord. And after the puja is done, you are supposed to give dakshina to the purohit, to the priest. So when that time came where he had to give something to the priest, he gave that home away in dakshina. He's Ashutosh, and therefore he is also known as Bholenath. And again he's back to square one. And the way he dresses up, his ornaments are the snakes, cosmetics are the ashes from the crematoriums, matted hair, very different hairstyle. So it's very difficult to understand him. Now the strange thing about this whole incident was, Lord Shiva was instructing the sages where Narad Muni and others were seated. And he was instructing them on renunciation while having his own wife, Mother Parvati, seated on his lap. And nobody had an issue with this. He didn't have, the sages didn't have. But Maharaj Chitraketu was flying above with his beautiful associates. He looked down upon this scene and he simply laughed. So this laugh sounded sarcastic, but it wasn't sarcastic because he is a devotee. Lord Shiva is the Param Vaishnava. That is one of the prominent roles he plays. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. It takes one to know one. So Maharaj Chitraketu was thinking, he laughed at the greatness of Lord Shiva, that only he could instruct on the subject of renunciation while his wife seated next to him, and he had his arms around Mother Parvati, and they are like parents for the sages, because Lord Shiva is known as Bhuvaneshwar and Mother Parvati is the Jagat Mata, the mother of this material universe, Durga. And they are instructing their children. But when he saw from above, he just laughed at the greatness of Lord Shiva, that only he could be in such a situation and speak on renunciation. And Lord Shiva understood his mind, it takes one to know one. But Mother Parvati, somehow, she felt offended that her husband was insulted. And without even thinking twice, he cursed him. You are acting like a foolish, low-class person. I curse you to become a demon. And as soon as she cursed him, Maharaj Chitraketu, he descends, lands. And what is his reaction? He doesn't even come and try to justify that I was so, I laughed because of this. I didn't mean to offend you. I didn't mean to offend Lord Shiva. This was the reason I laughed. So once His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was mentioning, he says, so when we are offended, somebody commits an offense against us, there are various ways we react. We might retaliate, we might stay neutral, we might feel depressed. And then there is a higher way of responding to this, is that we forgive the person instantly. But he says a Vaishnava is such a person, a devotee is such a person that he doesn't even consider that an offense has been done. He doesn't even think that an offense has been done. And therefore, Maharaj Chitraketu just comes down and he humbly bows down to Mother Parvati, the mother of the universe. And he begs forgiveness. And he says, I accept whatever mercy you show. Because a devotee is such that he accepts every situation as the mercy of Krishna. Like King Parikshit in the Srimad Bhagavat. He is the most powerful person on the planet. He is influential, he is wealthy, he is famous, he is young, he is strong, he is handsome. And suddenly a huge reversal takes place in his life. Within 7 days, he will die. So Srimad Bhagavat teaches two main principles to all of us. Number one, that no matter who we are, anything can happen any moment. No matter who we are. And secondly, it also teaches that when that change does take place in our life, that apparent reversal does take place in our life, how do we respond to it? And it teaches the one most important principle, that is sharanagati. That we have to turn to the Lord. And no matter who we are, even if we are devotees, challenges will come, problems will come. Now that's a common factor between the materialistic people and the devotees and the non-devotees. But it is Krishna's nature that in times of trials and tribulations, if we turn to Him, He changes adversities into opportunities and curses into blessings. That's His supreme benediction for His devotees. Those who turn to Him. So whether you read Mahabharata, you read Bhagavad, you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you read the Gita, the message is only one, the conclusion. Even if we don't understand any of these scriptures, even if we don't remember these scriptures, the conclusion has to be remembered. And that is sharanagati. Anything can happen any moment. What do we do in such a situation? We start remembering the Lord. We start taking shelter of Him. And the classic example which comes to our mind is that of Prahlad. Srila Prabhupada said Prahlad is our Guru. At the age of 5, he is a pure devotee and he is being tortured for that. Now we are living in a material world where sometimes we are judged even if we have the best of intentions. Things go wrong despite the best efforts. And we ask the question, why do bad things happen to good people? And we are not necessarily always good or on the right side, but that's a question we keep asking. That's how we respond. But Prahlad was tortured so much. He was thrown off a cliff. There was an attempt to drown him in the ocean. There was an attempt to burn him alive. There was an attempt to attack him, kill him with deadly weapons. He was thrown in a pit filled with venomous snakes. Throughout all this, Prahlad did not even pray that, my dear Lord, please save me. Now, what kind of standard of devotion is that? He did not even ask the Lord to come and save him. What did he do? And therefore he is the Guru. He teaches us what to do when such reversals come into our lives. He did just one thing, and this is the most important sutra for life. And if we can remember this one sutra, the biggest challenges can be handled in the most dignified way. We can navigate any situation in life. We can overcome all obstacles. And the biggest tragedies can be averted. This one sutra. It sounds very simple, but it's extremely powerful. And that is remembrance of the Lord. Throughout all these trials and tribulations, what did Prahlad do? He didn't even pray. He didn't ask for protection. He simply kept remembering the Lord. And because he was doing that, the Lord protected him. Nothing could harm him. So therefore it is important to read Srimad Bhagavatam on a regular basis, because we will also find that the episodes mentioned here, they are very similar to our life also, the problems that we face. And the solution is also given in Srimad Bhagavatam. We come across the solution also. This is how we should respond. Now, this principle, as I said, sounds very simple, but it's time tested, not just from the scriptures. I've seen in devotees' lives also. Like once in Srimad Bhagavatam class in the temple in Mumbai, I was speaking about this one principle, how remembrance is the most powerful weapon that we have. It can change anything, remembrance of Krishna. So, one of the persons attending was a Marwadi businessman. Anyone here, Marwadis? Mostly Gujaratis? Okay. So suddenly one day he started calling me and I wasn't able to take the call. Then he met me. He said, Prabhuji, and I didn't realize that he used to pay so much attention. He would come because in the evening people are sometimes tired. They will doze off. So he said, there was this big deal I had to make, and the other party they just said no. No discussion. And it was a lot of money involved. and I wanted this contract, this deal to be done. And they said no. There was no way out. So I was very sad. I came back to my office. Then suddenly I remembered this. He said, I started remembering Krishna. And then half an hour later, I get a call. They said, the deal is done. No excuses, no discussion. And they didn't even give the reason why they were agreeing to it now. And said, I just have complete faith now in this principle. Of course, this is not unusual. Another thing happened. A person, he came up and he said, a devotee family, he said he had to deal with this court case and the other party is hell-bent on not trying to compromise. We are willing to give them money. He said, no. He said, if you give me this much money, otherwise jail is certain. I just told him, said, the only thing I can offer you is just keep remembering Krishna. He went to the court. Everything just turned around. Nothing happened. He developed faith. So unless we apply what we hear in our life, we won't get realizations. And unless we get realizations, we won't have faith. So hearing is one thing. It is the first step towards spiritual realization. But then application is even more important. When we apply what we hear, we get realizations. When we get realizations, our faith increases. Another example that comes to my mind, which I have heard from His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj in his Janmashtami Kathas. When Krishna is born, so Krishna tells Maharaj Vasudeva that please take me to Gokul. That was the Lord's instruction. Vasudeva didn't even think, how will I take him? I'm being tied up with chains. There are 7 doors, there are guards standing. Yamuna might be flooded. What if somebody sees me? Because the Lord gave him the instruction, he just picked up Krishna. As soon as he picked him up, the chains fell off. He started walking with Krishna in arms. And the doors opened, the guards had slept. Yamuna gave passage. And he came back safely with the other girl. So there he gives the purport that Vasudeva has been described as Krishna Vahak. Because he was carrying Krishna in his arms, how could there be any impediment on his path? He says, therefore, we should also become Krishna Vahak. And that means we are not so fortunate to carry Krishna in our hands, but we should learn to carry Krishna in our hearts, in our minds. That means remembering him. Just like all the doors opened for Vasudeva and everything fell into place, everything became very favorable for him to execute his service to the Lord. By remembering Krishna, by carrying him within our heart, automatically we'll see everything falling into place in our life. Whether it is spiritual life or material life. Therefore it is said, there are so many rules and regulations in the scriptures, but 2 rules are the kings. And if you are following these 2 rules, all the other rules are automatically followed. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. It's basically only one rule. And all our scriptural study, chanting, deity worship, association with devotees, rendering of service, all this is meant to bring us to this point only, that we learn to remember Krishna, carry him within our heart. And then everything will be successful, and all that we are trying to accomplish will be accomplished miraculously with the least amount of efforts. Hare Krishna. I was asked to leave 15 minutes for any questions, comments, so I would welcome that now. Any questions, please? Maharaj, any comments? Any questions? Yeah.
Thank you for the class. A question I had was that when devotees pray for another Vaishnav, is this necessary when say, if Krishna, if you desire to please save this devotee, but is this more sentimental, or is it actually necessary in terms of remembering?
Sorry, I didn't get that. When a devotee prays for another Vaishnava?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this actually like, Prahlad Maharaj, he didn't ask to be saved
Okay,
himself?
so you're asking when a devotee prays for other Vaishnava to be saved?
Yes.
No, that is a part of bhakti, that is devotional service.
Yeah.
But then we also end every prayer with a line that, my dear Lord, please do whatever you think is best for him. We don't put our conditions. Oh no, save him this way, that way. We let Krishna decide that. We simply say, this devotee is going through something, and so please, you know best, please do whatever you think is best for him. Like for King Chitraketu, because the Lord loved him so much, he orchestrated this whole pastime where the cursing happened and Mother Parvati cursed him, because the Lord wanted to speed up his, you can say, liberation in a simple word. He wanted to bring him back fast. Therefore, as soon as his karma gets over, if he becomes a demon, his karma will get over faster. So Krishna wanted him back, so he orchestrated. So that was the best thing for Chitraketu at that point. So therefore we leave it to Krishna. We say, my dear Lord, he is going through something like this. So I feel this way, but you know best. So you do whatever you think is best for him. Like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ji.
Thank you, Prabhu. So would you say that if we are on the path of service and bhakti, that on that path, the Lord will always test us to see
True.
how strong our faith is?
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yes, he will test us, but he will never test us beyond our capacity. He knows how much we can handle. He will not test us like Prahlad if we are not on the level of Prahlad. Like a student who was studying in first standard, he will not get a question paper of a PhD level. The teacher knows he's an expert teacher, so he'll give him a little test so that he can raise him higher to the next level, to the next level. So tests will come, but not something that we can't handle, or we can't pass. So we have to have faith in Krishna. Krishna is kind. Hare Krishna, yes.
The key principle you said was to always remember Krishna, and application is very important. When we are in the class, when we are in the temple, it's very easy to remember Krishna. But in real life, especially when you're working, things are happening, that principle you forget to apply. So what do you do to ensure that you always remember Krishna?
So one is have a strong sadhana. When you're not working, there should be some time dedicated every day to our strict sadhana. That means primarily the chanting. So the chanting has to be very, very attentive and intense. And if your chanting is intense and attentive, and ideally in the morning, not before we go to sleep, so then you will be able to attain or maintain that consciousness through the day. Because whatever impressions in the morning, our consciousness, our mind is like a wet cement. Whatever impressions are formed, they stay with you through the day. So one is that. And secondly, see everything that you are doing as a service to Krishna. Remember that I have been given this body, I have been given this family, I have been put in this situation, I'm doing this business. All this is by God's grace only. Who is deciding all this? So I must do it the best way I can because it is my service to Krishna. And then you go ahead. And at the end of the day, you can just be grateful, thank the Lord for whatever you have done, offering. Because Arjuna, when he was shooting arrows, he was not meditating on Krishna. He was doing it as a service to Krishna. So see everything, because nothing is disconnected from Krishna. Your family, your body, your business, your job, everything is His grace only. And when we see it disconnected from Him, then it becomes Maya. But since everything emanates from Him, everything is His and everything is connected to Him. So we see everything as a service to the Lord. And then we try to utilize the fruits of our work to serve Him again. That way we stay connected. That's the path of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Anyone else? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you for
Krishna.
a lovely class. My question was that by remembering you mean chanting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, chanting, that's the most powerful way to remember Krishna, because when you chant somebody's name, you naturally remember.
Yeah.
Suppose somebody mentions your husband's name, immediately you remember, the picture comes into your mind. So like that.
Just chanting. Yeah.
Of course, we have a different problem that we've been chanting, so it becomes so mechanical. Sometimes we are thinking of everything else but Krishna.
Yes. So linked to that, I was saying the examples you gave were very material outcomes that people got out of remembering Krishna. In terms of spiritual outcomes, because they are so subtle sometimes, say my desire or I wanted to have a better taste of chanting the holy name. The outcome might be so subtle that I don't even realize that by remembering Krishna, it has enhanced my chanting. How do you understand that?
I didn't understand the question. If you could.
So the spiritual outcomes, when we are remembering Krishna for certain spiritual outcome, they're very subtle, aren't they? You don't realize that a gain has happened. How do you understand spiritual outcomes by remembering Krishna?
I think this is something depends on case-to-case basis. Each individual, Krishna inspires differently, encourages differently, gives realizations differently. When it does happen, Krishna will make you realize, look, this is happening now. So this is something I cannot say something for you. You will only realize. Because each one has an individual relationship with Krishna. And Krishna will give realizations. And even if He's not giving realizations, doesn't mean, or even if He's not giving us that taste, doesn't mean He's not pleased with us. His timing is perfect. Whenever He wants to give that taste or give you that realization, He will. But the very fact that we are trying to gain that taste or become more sincere in bhakti is extremely pleasing to Him. And when He gives that realization that He's very pleased, or He gives you that realization that you are advancing now, that's up to Him. Therefore it is said, having faith in God means having faith in His timing. The classic example are the gopis. Now the gopis, they have eternal love for Krishna. They are born in the same village as Krishna. And they had only one prayer, that they wanted to associate with Krishna, constantly praying, offering worship to Mother Katyayani. But even they had to wait for 7 years before Krishna played his flute. One would imagine they are so close to Krishna in the same village, but only on the Sharat Purnima night, Krishna remembered their prayers again. He said, now is the right time to fulfill their prayers. So even they had to wait. So when it does happen, you will know. Because Krishna knows when to give that remembrance or that realization, that thought. And when that does happen, how does a devotee respond? By expanding our service to him. The difference between a devotee and a non-devotee, Vrindavan Das Thakurji mentions in Chaitanya Bhagavat that when a devotee gets what he wants, by the blessing of the Lord, he increases his service to the Lord. When a non-devotee gets it, he forgets. But devotees expand their seva. When you do get that realization, out of gratitude, you try to expand, you do more. Hare Krishna. Okay, shall we end here, Prabhu? One more, I think. One more. Yeah. Yeah, comment.
So, Shravanam is more important than Kirtanam. First you have to hear. Prabhupada was very adamant, you need to hear the chanting from a pure devotee. We need to stay away from non-devotees. And the Mataji's question, you need to be detached from the outcome. So just because you're not getting what you want or you are getting what you want, you need to be detached in both circumstances.
Yeah.
That's my comment.
Yeah, but her question was, how do we know?
You don't
So,
need
yeah.
to know. That's the point. You need to be detached. And if the realization comes, then it comes. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. And you need to be detached in both outcomes.
Yeah.
Detachment, detachment, detachment.
Thank you. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for
Hare
the
Krishna.
class. In the previous verse to the board, Maharaj Bharat's renunciation has been glorified.
Maharaj?
Maharaj Bharat.
Bharat.
And is described as a pure devotee. But at the same time, we know that he took 2 births and then he attained perfection. And it's also interesting, renunciation is synonymously described as pure devotional service. So can you elaborate on that?
One thing we also have to remember that Krishna teaches the world through those whom he loves the most. So in case of Bharat Maharaj, the essential lesson that he is trying to teach, which the acharyas have taught us, is that we must, even if we are very, very, very advanced on the level of bhava, still we should try and be in the association of devotees to practice devotional service. Through Bharat Maharaj, Krishna pointed out the mistake. Apparently Bharat Maharaj committed a mistake. He left and he was living alone. And there was nobody to correct him when his attachment to that deer continued to grow. Otherwise, when we are in the association of devotees, somebody will come and chastise us, oh, this is not good, that's not good for you. So one essential lesson that is taught is how careful we must be to always stay in the association of devotees, and how careful a sadhaka should be about his attachments, to not get attached to anything of this world. And the main danger was because he was doing it all alone. So that's what I have heard from our senior devotees describe this pastime. So renunciation, like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, they never encourage this kind of nirjan bhajan. They always stay in the association of devotees. Because that's where Krishna stays. Naham tishtami vaikunthe yogi nam hridayeshuva. Tatra tishtami narada yatra gayanti mad bhaktaha. I don't stay in Vaikuntha. I don't stay in the hearts of the yogis. I stay where my devotees come together to glorify me. So each and every episode of Bhagavad is teaching us some lesson. And through Bharat Maharaj, the importance of association has been taught. And the danger of material attachment. How Maya can enter like a needle and come out like a plow. So how one must be very, very careful. So Bharat Maharaj was already extremely advanced. But as I said, Chitraketu was advanced. Maharaj Chitraketu was advanced, pure devotee. But then Pandavas were advanced. But then the Lord uses His own people to teach sadhakas like us certain lessons. So we just focus on the lesson part. Does that make it clear? Does that answer your question?
So are we saying he was a pure devotee, and Lord is just like he utilized Arjuna?
Yes,
Lord is
yes,
utilizing
yes,
Bharat Maharaj?
yes. He uses His own people to teach lessons to all of us. So Bhagavad is like that.
So he wasn't on the Bhava Bhakti platform, and
He was. But then Krishna has His own ways of utilizing. Like Pandavas were sinless. They were pure devotees. They were His first cousins. Still, they were put through so many trials in their life. So Krishna teaches through them that no matter who you are, there will be problems in life, there will be challenges, and this is how you should respond, like the Pandavas did. And if you have me by your side, eventually you will be victorious. So he's trying to teach a lesson. The Lord teaches a lesson. Maharaj, would you like to add to this? I mean, Maharaj is sitting here, so maybe he can clarify.
Sometimes Krishna personally, individually puts a devotee in certain awkward position
Ji.
in order to increase the devotee's glory and
Yes.
reputation. Like example many times given that sometime gold is put in the fire.
Fire.
So that goldsmith has not any bad intention for the fire. But as soon as it comes in touch with the fire, the gold, its glory increases.
Yes.
So sometimes also like Yudhishthira Maharaj, there is no fault, but certainly before Yudhishthira Maharaj was very glorious, but he went to forest and came back, his glory and his effulgence and encouragement.
Yes.
So sometimes but still Yudhishthira Maharaj, he has a habit gambling, though he was really associate of Krishna, nothing.
Ji.
But still that habit for us that we should not be very great and I can't do anything and everything. Though in certain, even in that condition, Krishna is well-wisher and he wants to put apparently in our vision that he awkward position. Otherwise, it's just Krishna wants to glorify,
Yes.
makes his more reputation glorious than before.
Yeah.
So like Bharat Atva, Yudhishthira Maharaj, they were apparently they put in.
Yes, thank you.
So that we should.
Yeah, sometimes Krishna puts his devotees through troubles to glorify them. So there are various ways. He tries to teach a lesson, he tries to glorify, like Srila Prabhupada's own life. Yeah, for teaching us and for purifying or glorifying them. These are the two reasons. We see the pure devotees sometimes going through troubles. Like Srila Prabhupada's example. He's a pure devotee from birth. But then if Krishna wanted, Krishna could have arranged a nice welcome for him when he reached New York. But he went through all that trouble. At the age of 70, he comes to the West, 2 heart attacks with no money, no support. But if Prabhupada had not gone through this, who would know about Prabhupada? So Bharat Maharaj's story wouldn't be in the Bhagavad if he had just come and left everything, renounced and attained perfection. Where is anything to discuss? So Krishna just has his own ways of glorifying his devotees, and simultaneously he teaches us certain lessons through him. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, and very, very grateful to all the devotees for blessing me with this opportunity. Bhaktivedanta Manor is a historical place, and we have a very deep connection with Bhaktivedanta Manor. Even in Mumbai, ISKCON Chowpatty, regularly devotees have been coming and giving us the opportunity to serve them. So we hope to keep receiving them more often. And thank you once again. Hare Krishna. There is some prasad I got for everyone. Little. There is some prasad from Jagannath Puri and Radha Damodar Mandir. If somebody can distribute little to everyone. Nihar Prabhu, can you just... And there is some from ISKCON Chowpatty, our special cookies. First you give to Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maharaj, this is from ISKCON Radha Gopinath Mandir. निहार प्रभु वो पूरी का भी दो थोड़ा सा.